I think one of the things that's been great is that we're looking at a new way of engaging, new forms of partnerships between America and African states. And that's a new form of partnership based on a shared vision, based on trust, based on mutual accountability, and our responsibility really to a better world. And that is new for me, because it's not that we're sitting at a table and expecting that the US will come give aid. We're speaking investment. It's not a conversation about aid. We're speaking investments. We're speaking about the future, a shared future. We're speaking about accountability and respect. And what for me I found most important and interesting is our commitments to the youth and unemployment and education and about the future.
Did you speak with some of the investors here about investing in Sierra Leone's education, especially the young ones or the youth?
It's actually quite interesting because if you think about how much Sierra Leone commits to education, 22% of our budget.
Right.
Now, if you think about the aid, the loan, the debt that we have to pay, and with the depreciation of the leones against the dollar, and with the global economic crisis, you see that our 22% does not go as far. So one of the things that we have been speaking about, both on the government side and with our partner side, is how do we engage differently such that Sierra Leone, with its 22% in education, or any other country, that can go further than it currently is going. How do we bring in resources from other sectors to be able to support? And for education in particular, if we're thinking about digital education, there's some private sector organizations who we've been speaking about. If we're speaking about ways of teacher training and technology and these different ways in which we can ensure that people are getting training, are getting the learning outcomes that are desired.
So what has been the reaction of these partners that you've been negotiating with, and how hopeful are you that they will follow up with some of the commitments they've made?
I think it's mutual responsibility back to this level of how we engage each other. I'm very confident that, for example, when we are speaking with MCC on energy and with all of the development, these are conversations that have an impact on education. In Sierra Leone, when we invest in mini-grids, we see that those communities do better in learning outcomes. So it's not just that the money into mini-grids are not going into education, but actually the impact of having mini-grids in communities bring safety, have economic impact, and also further gives results in the learning outcomes. So with education, there are many ways in which we can get learning outcomes and outcomes for education.
With the participation at this summit, what impact do you anticipate it having? Because I see a whole delegation from Sierra Leone engaging with a lot of the partners here.
My hope is that there are many other people from here who will have a new insight into Sierra Leone and who will come to Sierra Leone. It's also just engaging. President Biden mentioned the Prosper Africa, the virtual deal room. For example, we engaged with that. It's not just about you come here, it's the in-person matters, you create relationships, but most of the work can happen virtually after that. So how do you engage on those platforms to ensure that you're bringing in the right sort of information and the right sort of data to the investor, such that you can move those forward. So I'm very hopeful. I think our team is very committed to pursuing these partnerships and making sure that that impact is felt on the ground in Sierra Leone.
Looking at the 22% budget that the president has budgeted for education, what are some of the success stories you are seeing on the ground? And in the future, how sustainable would this free education be?
I think when you think about how you transform a country, you have to base it on the foundation. In the past, and when you in politics, bad politics, you take all the money and you build one big pillar. You say, look at that tall pillar that I built in 4 years. What we have done in this government is to say we need sustainable development. That requires a solid foundation. We dig down into the hole, bring rocks, and put solid multiple core pillars. And so you may not see it go as high, but what we are building is so structural that it doesn't matter. We can only go up. Different people can focus on different sides of the wall because the foundation is solid. That said, we've been able to achieve gender parity within 4 years. There are as more girls as boys. This was not the case. We've been able to recruit and train teachers at a scale that has not been done before. Increase teacher salaries by 30%, committed 45% into the future, trained just this past holiday about 12,000 teachers, about 24,000 over the last 2-3 years. New sets of curriculum from basic primary education all the way through to tertiary education, brought in a lot more, committed financing, about 300 million over the next 4-5 years, new resources committed to support what we're doing. And one of the biggest impacts with the free quality education, free tuition, school feeding, ensuring that you're able to get transition exams also covered, transportation subsidized, is we now see for the over 100,000 kids pass their transition exams to go to university. Now we have a different challenge. How can you absorb all of them? We can't readily, and we have to think about ways in which we expand into online learning, think about skills development, and the knowledge economy. How do you ensure the kids are getting the right set of skills? And this year, we have more people doing STEM, applying to do STEM than the arts in the university, and more women applying to do engineering than men. And it's just incredible to see these things happen within 4 years.
So what will be the major takeaways of the speech of President Joe Biden, listening to him today, and what will be the major takeaways as you go back to Sierra Leone after the summit?
I think it was great to hear the president talk about new forms of partnership based on our shared future. It was great that the president also spoke about MCC, and Sierra Leone had a meeting with the head of MCC who said how Sierra Leone is one of their most important partners. We are eligible for Compact and we're far into developing it, focused on energy. We saw the president speak about technology and innovation. I'm also Chief Innovation Officer for Sierra Leone, and it's great to keep pursuing that. Technology and innovation is going to be the ways in which we transform our economies, not just in America as they have, but also in our various African countries. The focus on youth, the focus on climate, these are all very well in line with our human capital development initiatives that President Bill has.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.